everybody. Mike Stadler here.
Carl Belke with you.
The Obsession Podcast had another question come in to us about small food plots, and are they worth it?
Huh. They're 100% worth it. That's a big one on my part.
Agreed.
A kill plot, small plots.
Yeah.
I mean,
Destination plot, whatever you want to call them.
how would you, I don't know.
I'll tell you something.
What's the difference now? Wait, yeah, go ahead.
So, I'm watching a show. This was probably a few weeks ago, I think, maybe. Very popular.
Mm-hmm.
They have several different shows now. Whatever.
Okay.
Big in the industry.
Yeah.
Talking about if a food plot is under an acre, it's not worth it.
Under an acre. I saw some really big deer.
Yeah.
On plots that are actually probably less than an acre.
Yeah. Plots that are 40 by 40
Yep.
yards.
Or smaller.
Yeah. Saying they're not worth it. Well, first of all,
Just lay it out there, Mike.
reason one.
Tell me what you think.
So you can't put acre plots in everywhere,
No,
and
you shouldn't.
yeah, and why would you want to?
Right.
Smaller plots or kill plots, whatever you want to call them, destination plots, we put them in, we put several of them in
Mm-hmm.
to keep our deer segregated and to give them opportunities to be in different plots of the property at the same time. Deer don't want to all be in the same field.
No.
Like I know you see on TV, they'll show this field, there's 20 deer in it. They don't like it.
No.
They don't like going into that. And if you ever watch, there's normally not a big buck coming into that field yet.
No.
They ain't coming in there.
No.
You know?
The only time he's in there is if
Yeah.
it's that time.
If it's that time, he's going to be in there. But,
Right, right.
small plots I think are a must. I know Carl thinks they're a must. We do a ton of them. I have 4 small plots here.
Yep.
And then one bigger one.
Yep.
That we have segregated though. Now that bigger one we have divided it, even though it's one plot. There's 3 different areas in it.
Yep.
So, I can't remember how many plots do you have, Carl, on your small.
Oh my God. Smaller plots. Well, smaller plots I've got. This year is different because we added some
Yeah,
stuff.
we added some stuff. Yeah.
So I'm gonna break this up. Small plots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 small plots.
Yep, and it's a little bigger piece of land than mine too. So
Yeah.
they're all viable,
Oh yeah.
and they're all viable at different times. And a lot of them have the same things in them,
Well,
but it doesn't mean they're all hitting them at that. They're
Yeah.
hitting them at different times. It seems like.
there's some things that this is how I look at it. So, I just said I had 8 small plots on my property, and the way you and I believe to set properties up is to control line of movement. So we're talking smaller properties here. The people you're talking about, they sit there and they talk about a small property, but what they don't tell you is they have 15 or 20 of those small properties that actually link together, and there's one great big.
That's not a small property.
No, and some of their, the same group said, they had a small farm, and then they were talking about access on the backside because they could access the backside. Well, what they didn't tell you is the 1,500 acres next to their small farm, which they're trying to promote themselves as small property owners, they own that too.
Right.
So, when we say small properties, we're meaning, I'm just going to tell you, mine's 72 and Mike's 40.
Yep.
That's what we consider to be a small property. But we've also hunted what we consider smaller properties, which are 10 to 12 to 14.
For sure.
And we've shot deer up, good bucks off of them too.
Yeah.
So, but we set these food plots up that this other group says you shouldn't do to control the line of movement for deer, to break them up like Mike said. So a whitetail social structure is based up in does and fawns and bucks. And the does and fawns, just like other groups of, whether it be humans or whatever else, There's can only be so many in a certain spot, then there's dominance issues.
Yeah.
So the more you can break those groups up, give them their own social structure in even a small area, the more deer you can hold on your property, holding capacity, carrying capacity. And the closer those does and fawns are to the food, the more space it leaves for bucks. And that more space for bucks, if there's enough there, allows you to bring more mature bucks on the property. I don't know, he's barking. So you,
Just a random bark from my dog.
yeah, he's making sure nobody comes
Yeah,
in.
like, you know, we have, I know it's hard to see from when we're showing you on our footage, but all of our plots, like the smaller plots, they're not that they're super far away from each other,
No,
but you can't see into one from the other.
correct.
And that's the biggest thing, especially when you're hunting, especially if you're gonna hunt bucks later.
Yes.
You don't want to be able to see into one plot from another plot, which is why we're doing a lot of the things that we do, so that the deer have to come in there to see what's going on. And if they come in, they're already in range.
Yes.
This is why you like small plots, because the same show I watched, that I'm talking about now, said small plots are basically a waste of time, is what they said, unless they're going to be this big. In the next statement, they said you should be able to shoot that plot, that whole plot.
Yeah.
So then they show the structure setup of a 1.7 acre plot.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're not shooting that whole plot from one stand.
With a bow, for sure.
You're just not doing it. Yeah, you could shoot it all with different stands. You know, like my bigger plot, we have 3 separate stand locations in it.
Yep. And that's a straight up acre, that one.
Yep, and that's a 1 acre measured out plot.
Yep.
You know, with 3 separate food sources in it. So, yeah, you're gonna shoot it, but only if you're in this stand, you're gonna shoot this far.
Yeah.
So you're not shooting a 1.7 acre plot all the way across. I'm gonna
No.
have to beat archery to death.
You are.
Alright. So I can't imagine not doing small food plots
Right.
myself.
Yeah, and we'll talk about your big one. So your big one is what, 7 acres, you said?
Oh yeah, the cornfield, yep,
Yeah.
7 acres.
But it's also broke up now. There's 3 plots along that transition line. It's a tree line and then corn, and then another tree line that Mike's building currently.
Yep.
And there's 3 brassica or green plots set up in that, which we just planted yesterday. And there's 3 stands on those for each individual plot there to utilize. Matter of fact, I think the biggest buck you have a picture of is the one that's in the inside corner where you used to get a bunch of big pictures. And that particular spot,
Yeah, the big wide one is
Yeah.
in there. Yep.
yeah, that particular spot in there, you know, he's got does and bucks and everything coming in there, but then there's different does and bucks coming into the next plot down, which is only, what, 150 yards?
Yeah. There's a doe and a fawn that are pretty consistently in the far west plot right now. And there's the doe with the 2 fawns is down here on this end.
Yeah, on the west there.
Consistent.
On the east end, yeah.
And in the center has kind of been some random stuff.
Right,
But I haven't seen the doe with 1 fawn on this end, and I haven't seen the doe with 2 fawns on the other end.
right.
And it's not a huge span,
No, no, and that's perfect
you know? Yeah.
for segregating your doe herd.
And now what's funny is I've seen them both go into the bottom plot though.
Well, that's
Yeah.
probably, yeah, and that's
But if
a
you
little
think
more
about
difficult.
just moving over top of the ridge,
Right,
they both have frequented that one, but up top here they have not. You know, which is our segregation, which we talk about a ton,
yeah,
you know, and these small plots are like, that's funny, I don't even think of my cornfield as a plot.
yeah. It's
You know,
not, well, you're thinking of it
yeah.
as structure.
Yeah, because I think of it as structure. No, I think of my big plot as the one down below, but, so yeah, small plots are a must. I mean, we've talked about, I know another one for sure on my property next year.
Yeah.
And it might only be a clover plot, but it's another spot, you know,
Right.
for deer to hit, and another utilization of the property, basically.
And if we break down, if we break down my property a little bit, so we put corn in, so I put the switchgrass all the way across this one edge. It's like 140 yards long. And then right behind that, I actually have 2 new cornfields that Mike and I put in there. Well, those cornfields are there to prevent, number one, they're there for food structure and east-west movement. So these are laid out east-west. And also on my property is vertical transitions. So if the deer were in the woods last year, they could see all the way down to level 2 on my property. So if they were level 4, they could see down to level 2. If there wasn't deer in the field there, the bucks wouldn't even come out of the woods unless they wanted to.
And they watched it happen.
So what we've done now is we've created all this structure, so the corn and the switchgrass and whatever, to make them come out, which gives us a chance to hunt them, you know, vertical transition, north-south, and movement east-west, and allows us to hunt them at every level. Because now it's all protected by the corn. And the corn, at this point, is gonna basically protect the plots, the closer up plots, like the shooting gallery. That's an inside corner all the way around, top to bottom. And we created it with structure.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can, because we put that structure in, we can take that and hunt that easier and sneak out through the ravine, through that coulee. Dad's plot, same thing. Shrouded with the corn on the top edge, closer to the bedding area. Plot's right there. The new ground line we put up yesterday is right there for my dad. So we'll see how that works out. Same as Mike's. Basically, it's creating all this less social stress for the does, bedding them close to the food, leaving more space for bucks. Hopefully, we'll be able to have more bucks on the property.
Right.
Maturity.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
For sure. I mean, I set my camera ding off. There's a doe in the plot right now.
Good.
You know, and it's 12:20.
12:20.
12:20.
That means they're comfortable.
Comfortable. Yep. Coming out during the day.
Yeah.
Which is trouble
For somebody.
for somebody.
So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we definitely think the small plots are important. You can control deer movement with it. You can control the social structure of your herd on your property, which should allow you to hold more deer on your property.
Yeah. To me, you know, I on the backside of this show I watch, excuse me, when I see these massive plots that some of these TV shows show they're putting in, I'm like, how are you hunting that? Like,
Yeah.
how are you deciding? Because you can't control anywhere where they're going. You know, where do you put a stand on a plot that's a 10-acre, you know, green field that you're going to hunt?
To me, that's destination plots.
Yeah.
You
So,
know? And they're not really,
I mean, that's your gun hunting, I guess.
well, I guess, but to me, a destination food plot is not a big destination food plot. It's not someplace I want to hunt anyway.
Right.
There's too many variables, I can't control it. And 9 times out of 10, you're busting deer going in and out.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Yeah.
To-
You can have that great big condo or whatever they're sitting in, you know, muddy blind or whatever the hell it is. And yeah, you know, you're fairly scent free inside of there, you know, you still put a little scent out, whatever. But now you got to get from that muddy out, and there's nothing but food there.
There's nothing but deer.
And there might be corn around you or whatever else, but what is it? Sight, sound, and smell. If you can't get in and out without educating them in one way with those three, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So the other part about this group is, you know, doesn't really matter because they aren't really hunting pressured deer, if you ask me.
Yeah, well,
Within reason.
yeah, because you can control the majority of a huge property.
Well.
Which, like I said, that's why we talk about smaller tracts of land,
Yeah.
because that's what we have, that's what we do.
Yep.
You got to utilize small plots. You got to give your deer something.
For
You
sure.
know, there's always going to be, especially, you know, the majority of you obviously that listen to us are from Wisconsin.
Yep.
We know that there are corn and beans around everything, somewhere.
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
you're always going to have food around you.
And you're always going to have other hunters because this is Wisconsin.
Correct.
You know, again, Wisconsin, people don't talk about it all the time, but we are probably one of the premier Pope and Young, Boone and Crockett states. The reason they don't talk about us much is a lot of our properties are privately owned, and in Wisconsin we don't talk about how big a deer we shoot most of the time. A lot of
It's kind of like Fight Club.
it is kind of
You
like
don't talk about Fight Club.
no. So, you know, and
I say let people keep going to Illinois and Iowa.
yeah,
Saves our deer here.
yeah. What I'd like to see is that I'd like to see them increase our tags for out-of-staters,
Yeah,
price-wise.
our non-resident tags are just ridiculously inexpensive
Oh yeah, they're almost free.
for what we have to pay.
Yeah, and even if you're hunting public land, you're going to be able to have an opportunity at a really, really good buck.
Yep.
You know, if you know how to hunt.
Yep.
So, you know, Iowa tag this year, $644, bro. 644.
Yeah.
3 something for Illinois, isn't it?
Yes.
So either way, basically twice the amount it costs to hunt in the state of Wisconsin.
Yep.
So if anybody in the state of Wisconsin, DNR or whatever is listening, get your shit together.
Get those prices up there and help us out a little bit.
Well,
that helps our management here.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Costs.
yeah, let's stop giving away free tags.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so, but yeah, I mean, like our view on it is small plots are very important, especially for small sized landowners. You can control your deer movement with it. It's probably one of the most productive places to hunt on a property, I think. Not necessarily saying you're going to shoot a big buck on it. What I'm saying though is you can control the movement, and if you have big bucks in the area, it'll give you an opportunity.
You know, deer are going to frequent it.
For sure.
If you ask somebody to come to your property, hey, you want to hunt on a food plot, or you want to just hunt on a hill? Well, hunt on a food plot.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
They don't care.
Right.
You don't have to tell them if you've seen anything there.
Yeah.
Oh, food plot, I'll hunt in it.
There's lots of, yeah. And the one thing I am going to throw out there too, and this is, I guess, somewhat of a negative. So food plots, a lot of people talk about, you know, you shouldn't even hunt on a food plot because you're going to educate your deer. Not if you're set up right.
Right. Not if you can access it
Yep.
and leave it.
Get in and out without educating the deer that are physically in the plot, you're good to go.
And let's be honest too, if you're hunting a food plot and you're hunting a specific deer and you kill that deer,
Doesn't matter.
who cares?
Yeah.
You're done.
Right.
You're not gonna go back out there the next night.
No, 100%.
You're done. You know.
Yeah. If you say you're hunting a great big field, it's still a food plot.
Mhm. Yeah, either way.
It's all field edge, whatever.
You know what? Here's a little nugget.
Nugget.
Deer are a slave to their stomach.
No way.
They're eating consistently
Yeah.
all day and night.
Pretty much.
It's what they do. So they're going to continue to eat, and they're going to come back out.
Yeah.
They're going to go, or they'll move to another plot.
Well, how many times have you seen does leave the field, get flushed off for some reason,
Yeah,
whatever?
come back.
5 minutes later, same
Yep.
deer are right back in there.
Yep.
They don't go far.
Yep.
Bucks, yeah, a little bit different. You know, you get a big deer, he's probably not going to tolerate too much.
Yep.
But he's probably not going to be in that food plot most of the time really early.
Yeah, it's gonna be late. It's gonna be tipping late.
Yep, one way or the other.
Yep.
So that's what we think about small plots, I think.
Yep.
Pretty much covers it. We think they're very productive. We think it's something that every property should have is a food plot, minimal. Probably could lay out a couple of them if you got a fairly decent sized property. So we appreciate you guys listening to The Obsession. Thanks for listening to us here at rss.com under The Obsession, Google Podcast. You can also check us out on Spotify under The Obsession. And we also thank you guys for watching us here on YouTube. If you get a chance, like and subscribe to the channel. If you got any comments, be sure to send them to us or put them right down here on the comments here at the YouTube channel. We appreciate them, good and bad, right, Mike?
Correct, sir.
Always want to hear what you guys got to say.
Click that like button.
Thanks for listening to The Obsession.